Hello everybody, my name is Fazıl. I am a senior student at the Faculty of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Today I will talk about the land walls. The flow of the presentation is shown in here. First, I am going to talk about the architecture of the land walls. Then I am going to mention the first construction of the walls and later modification throughout the history. And finally, I will discuss about the current condition of the walls. The land walls have 6 main parts: inner wall, outer wall, and inner terrace between them, secondary outer wall, and outer terrace between outer and secondary outer walls, and finally there is a mouth at the very end. The walls were 5.5 kilometers long. Primary material used in construction of the walls is limestone. These walls are 13 meters above the city ground. The inner walls have 4.5 meters thickness and 19 meters height. The inner walls have 96 reinforcement towers built throughout history. The towers are 75 meters apart from each other. Wideness of inner terrace is around 16 to 21 meters. The outer walls have 92 reinforcement towers, and the distance between them is 9 meters. Thickness of the outer wall is 2 meters. Outer terrace is 20 meters wide. Mouth depth is 7 meters maximum. The land walls have 6 main gates. Constantinople had a strategic significance throughout the history. Therefore, there are a lot of community wanted to take possession of it. Even though Constantine I won the Battle of Chrysopolis against Goths in 324, he was struggling to handle a lot of enemies. After that battle, the walls started to build by Constantine I's command. The wall was protecting the city, but it wasn't enough, hence it requires a large-scale maintenance and improvements. There are several reasons for that. The first reason was that there was some new housing right next to the walls due to the growing population. Another reason was Goths' victory at the Battle of Adrianople in 378. The third reason was Goths' invasion in Theodosius II's era. Theodosius II completed the walls in 2 phases. The first phase was conducted by Praetorian Prefect Anthemius around 413. General maintenance was made in 437 due to several earthquakes. In spite of all reinforcement and improvements, the walls had its vulnerable points. The outer wall and moat around Chrysos Gate were one of those vulnerabilities. The most vulnerable part of the walls was Mesotikion, and walls around Blakarna has its weak points. Byzantine Empire was in the crisis in late 6th century. Therefore, defense of the city was put into the test in those times. The first striking threat is Persian and Avar siege in 626. However, they failed due to bad cooperation. The Arabs besieged Constantinople and conquered the eastern part around 717. However, they couldn't conquer the whole empire. Sieges and earthquakes damaged the wall, so it needed repairs. The maintenance were made in different areas by different emperors. Spatarius Nars, which is located around Rhegium Gate, made by Justin II and his wife Sophia between 567 and 578. Besides, The walls were built around Blackharne to push the wall boundaries. Heraclius made the first extension in 626. Justinian II and Anastasius II upgraded the wall to defend themselves against the Arabs. Leo III and his son Constantine V mended the walls in 740 after an earthquake, which is written in the inscription on the Tower 25. Basil II also repaired the walls around Rhegium Gate due to earthquakes. In addition to the repairs, new walls were also built in the reign period of Manuel I Komnenos to improve security around the place of Blackharne. The walls were neglected in the first half of the 13th century due to the absence of financial resources. However, in the second half of the 13th century and the first quarter of the 14th century, walls had undergone maintenance. The siege made by Sultan Murad II in 1422 indicated the Ottoman threat. John VII repaired the walls extensively. The land walls had a significant role during the siege made by Mehmed II in 1453. Even though Ottomans bombarded the walls with large cannons in various locations, the army overcame the walls in early April 1453. Ottoman army overwhelmed the defenders in the end and got to the inner walls. Mehmed II entered into the city through the Çerses Gate, which was later known as Edirne Kapı. The Çerses Gate was repaired majorly by Bayezid II. The other parts of the walls which were damaged during the siege repaired by Ottomans. Yedikule Citadel was built behind the Golden Gate in 1458. Earthquakes continued to damage the walls and Ottomans maintained damages stemmed from the earthquakes. However, when the Ottoman Empire approaches its end, the walls were neglected and some parts collapsed. The Zaylikerkos Gate was bricked up by Byzantines and opened up in 1886. Now it is known as Belgrade Kapı. There were some plans to break down the land walls to make the city more modern at the beginning of the 20th century. These plans refused by interference of a group of archaeologists. UNESCO included the walls into the World Heritage Sites of Istanbul in 1985. Some part of the walls close to the Sea of Marmara were broken down to construct a railway in 1871. The other parts were demolished to construct main streets. Several remaining sections located around Blackharne. These remnant dates were thought as Theodosian days or even before. There has been a debate over the original route of the Theodosian walls. The only sure thing is that the walls once located beyond the church of the Theotokos, Blackharne. Thank you for listening.